A cold drizzle fell on the dimly lit streets of Brooklyn as a lone figure stood by a rusted fire escape, his breath visible in the night air. Ayan Khan had been in deep cover for nearly 2 years, infiltrating the notorious Falcon Cartel, one of the most dangerous criminal organizations on the East Coast. He had gained the trust of their ruthless leader, Miguel El Falcón Rivera, and now stood on the precipice of bringing them down. But in this city, enemies weren't just the ones in the shadows. Sometimes they wore badges. Officer Jack Reynolds had spent 20 years on the force, and in his mind, he had seen it all. He had a reputation for being ruthless, a cop who believed in brute force over diplomacy. His past was filled with incidents, accusations of racial profiling, excessive force complaints, all swept under the rug because he got results. When Reynolds was assigned to investigate rising cartel activities in the city, he didn't expect to cross paths with Ayan Khan. To him, Ayan looked like every other criminal he had put away, another thug running with the wrong crowd. He didn't believe in undercover agents, especially not ones who looked like Ayan. So, when Ayan's name started surfacing in police intel reports linked to the cartel, Reynolds saw what he wanted to see: a criminal, not an agent. Ayan had finally gained Miguel Rivera's full trust. He was now handling shipments, laundering money, and had direct access to information the feds desperately needed. A massive drug trade was about to go down, and Ayan had the inside track. That night, Ayan was supposed to meet his contact, a fellow undercover agent, at an abandoned warehouse to exchange intel. But when he arrived, the air smelled of gasoline. His contact was already there. Dead. A single bullet to the head. Before he could react, red and blue lights flooded the area. The sound of sirens echoed through the night. "Freeze, hands up," Ayan turned, only to see Officer Reynolds leading the charge, gun drawn. "This bastard's the cartel's right-hand man. Cuff him!" Reynolds barked. Ayan's mind raced. Someone had set him up. The cartel must have discovered his identity. They had killed his contact and tipped off the cops. "Reynolds, listen to me. I'm DEA. I'm deep cover." Ayan tried to explain, but Reynolds sneered. "DEA. That's rich. Save it for the judge." The next thing Ayan knew, he was face down on the pavement, cuffs biting into his wrists, locked in an interrogation room. Ayan knew his time was running out. If he stayed there, the cartel would have him killed before the truth came out. "Let me call my superior at the DEA. He'll vouch for me," Ayan pleaded. But Reynolds wasn't listening. Instead, he left Ayan in the room and made a phone call, one that would seal both their fates. "Yeah, I got him," Reynolds said into the phone. "Cartel's golden boy. He won't see the morning." But the voice on the other end wasn't his captain. It was Miguel Rivera. Reynolds had been dirty all along. He had been on the cartel's payroll for years, eliminating threats for a price. And now he was about to make Ayan disappear. That night, Ayan knew he had to act fast. A hitman disguised as a corrections officer entered his holding cell. Ayan fought for his life, disarming the assassin and knocking him out cold. He took the man's uniform and slipped out, blending into the chaos of the precinct. As he exited, he spotted Reynolds in the parking lot, laughing into his phone. Ayan gritted his teeth. The cop who had framed him was also working for the people he was trying to stop. He had one mission now: take down Reynolds and the Falcon Cartel before they took him down first. Reynolds arrived at a secluded warehouse later that night, expecting to meet Rivera for his payment. Instead, he found himself surrounded by DEA agents, SWAT teams, and Ayan Khan, standing in the center with a cold, satisfied smirk. "What's the matter, Reynolds?" Ayan said, stepping forward. "Didn't expect me to make it out alive?" Reynolds reached for his gun, but agents swarmed him. He was done. Inside the warehouse, Rivera and his top men were arrested. The cartel's empire crumbled that night, and so did Reynolds' career. As Reynolds was dragged away, Ayan walked past him and whispered, "Justice isn't blind, it just takes time." Ayan stood on a rooftop, watching the sun rise over the city. He had spent years in the shadows, but today, the light of justice had prevailed. His mission was over, but the war wasn't. And Ayan Khan was always ready for the next fight.